somebody who was employed in various aspects here at San Diego State University and served as the Senate's parliamentarian. Bill Eadie passed away a few weeks ago. And given that he served such an important role at the Senate, we wanted to take a moment to just recognize him. And so I feel very honored to say a few words now. And I also was very honored to have contributed to the lovely piece that Jeff Ristine wrote about him. Um, I don't want to sound cliched, but Bill's life was in many ways a life well lived. Many of you have seen the comments on the listserv that used words like gentle, kind, mentor. And if you look on Facebook postings, like for some of the theater critic groups he was in and so forth, you see this repeated where people say he was warm, generous, he had a generous presence, he was supportive, he was kind, and people remark on this on and on. And I can say, as being a very close friend of his, he certainly tempered me. I can often hear him saying, "Now, come on, Nora," when I would get, a little snarky because, I can do that. What comforts me, though, uh, and Bill had health challenges for, as those of you who know him, for quite a while. Even though his life seemed shorter than many of us would have preferred, he did accomplish so much, particularly his last book, which was so important to him. And he also got to live his authentic self in life, growing up in a time when he couldn't be his authentic self earlier in his life. He was able to actualize that self later in life. He had a wonderful relationship with his siblings, his brother who lived here, as well as his sisters, and his sister who is still alive, who lives up in Palisades. Um, and one of my most favorite memories was watching him just this very week, several years ago, when he used to perform with a group called Men Alive. And I was up watching one of their holiday shows. And to watch the joy that he had on stage singing with that group of men is something that I can keep close. And just want you all to know that Bill had a lot of joy in his life. And we would like everyone in the Senate to just take a moment to silently remember our colleague.
Thank you, Nora. Appreciate that. So quick announcements for Senate Chair report. We have that new webpage, as I mentioned, so don't let that throw you. The officers are happy to meet with any senators or caucuses or committees. We serve on some of them ex officio, but if you'd like to meet with us anytime, please just reach out. We're happy to have conversations around your concerns and surface those more broadly. Budget-wise and compensation plan-wise, just want to give people a brief update for the Senate budget. We're working through what is a structural deficit and having conversations with the President's office to close that structural deficit. Part of that conversation is also the compensation plan. So officers that are officers and also committee chairs on SEC receive some assigned time. And so we're looking at the entire budget to make sure see how we can sort of make that whole and maintain our level of support. And that's going to be a partnership with President's office. We also want to update the compensation plan so it is reflective of what compensation will look like next year. And that will be before we have elections in the spring. So it's very clear what levels of support are available for what positions. In addition, annual Senate agenda items. There were 3 items that were identified early in our October meeting and ratified. The budget literacy survey, just a quick update there. We had 15 responses from the survey that was distributed to all senators. We have just sent out the same survey to all of the chairs and directors, and as well as the academic deans and academic affairs for their perspectives. And the input there will sort of form a body of inquiry that we can work with PBAC and also URP to develop some resources, some discussions, possible actions on behalf of the Senate so we can move towards a shared understanding of the budget dynamics on campus. The second item was around AI, so promoting cognitive development over AI convenience. And we had 12 responses to that survey. On November 19th, a small group of folks who are already sort of offering various programming across campus, faculty, staff, and MPPs met to just sort of discuss the broad scope of the challenges and opportunities there. And we'll be coming back to SEC to establish an ad hoc committee to work on that as an annual Senate agenda item in the new year. The last item was sustaining and strengthening teacher-scholar model. And that is largely been taken up as a first stop with AP&P's consideration of the Associated Students Academic Partnership Agreement. There's a lot of great content there. If you haven't seen it, it was provided as an information item in a previous meeting. And for the spring, we plan to establish some salons and discussion groups that all senators, as well as the broader campus community, will be invited to get our heads wrapped around this issue and move forward together in an effective way.
A couple things on AS's end. One project that we're working on, a special project, is we're in the needs assessment stage of a SWANA MENA resource center, and with conversations with our partners at Student Affairs and Campus Diversity. So a needs assessment survey is the first step in our creation, hopefully, of that resource center within the next couple of years. If you know any faculty or staff that are a part of that diaspora or interested in joining our charge, please feel free to reach out with me. That survey rollout is kind of like a snowball survey, so we're in the process of doing that alongside a charge letter and philanthropic research and endeavors. We have a subgroup of students, including myself, that are really passionate about this cause and a space for that community to gather. Other special projects, as mentioned, are academic partnership agreement, which we're working on AP&P with. I've been reading through those comments and all of the great feedback. And I think as students on the student-facing side, we're learning a lot about the differentiation and the definitions of things like academic freedoms and the structural elements that make up the processes that we might not see from a student-facing perspective. So it's a great learning experience in the same way that it was meant to be an informing experience for our staff and faculty as well. We're engaging a wider group of students in that charge as well, so that it's not just me and the AP&P representatives having eyes on that document. Our college council representatives are those forward-facing students to all the concerns within their colleges, so looping them in on those discussions as well is an important part on my end, as this will inform future policy and discussion. Our Aztecs Rock Hunger campaign ended on November 30th, so thank you to everyone who is engaged in that in your college or just came across social media marketing or events on campus. I would tell you how much we raised, but there's a big reveal in the Student Union on December 11th from 12 to 1 p.m. if you want to come out and see how much money we raised for not only students facing food insecurity on campus. That goes to support our ECRT, the AS Food Pantry, and the Jacobs and Cushman Food Bank, so also impacting a broader San Diego community, which is a really important initiative, especially during this time. It's a really busy time of year, and we have a lot going on the AS side, but I know that you all have a lot going on your ends too, so I hope that you're doing well and know that all the work, the hard work that you do does not go unnoticed. And I'm going to now pass it off to Abby.
Hi, everyone. I'm Abby. I'm the AS Vice President of External Relations. So I do a lot of the government relations and advocacy for students off campus. And I know Corrine briefly talked about it last meeting, Senate Executive Committee, but AS is working on off-campus housing advocacy, so specifically like renter protections for our students. And a lot of that is working with some of our other CSU campuses. And I know that there was some feedback talking about maybe working with other campuses, and that is something that we are doing. And there's even some UC partners who are interested in working with us on that. So that's something that's cool. We're also working on just advocacy for the college area as a whole in terms of lighting and safety. So yeah, I think that that's most of what I have. But if you guys have any feedback on that or have done anything with renter protections, we're always looking to build the coalition for this. So yeah. That's it. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
So good afternoon. I'm Jose Preciado, part of the lecturer faculty, and I have the distinction of supporting the undeclared students. Right now, the undeclared students have a defunct council and associated students, and so they lack representation. They, however, have not been supported not to pay all of their student fees that are associated with being members of the Associated Students. So, what I'm hoping that we can work together to resolve is how do we make sure that the 900 or so undeclared students have representation on AS Council? This representation is important for two reasons. The students pay, well, 800 times however much the student fees are, and they have no voice. I'm part of the lecture faculty, so I'm not a tenured professor who can advocate for them or with them in curricular matters and things of that nature. And so they really need the student voice to be heard and prioritized. Or maybe they need an option not to pay any of their student fees since they are not represented. I think we've fought a revolutionary war around that. No representation, no voting, no. So I just want to encourage for our student population of undeclared students that is over 800 to be noticed, to be valued, and so that I don't have to be their voice. I would be wonderful for the undeclared students to have an opportunity to share their perspective, agree or disagree on student fee increases, for example. And I don't think they have that opportunity right now. So I'm hopeful that at the next Senate meeting, we can report back that we've taken some affirmative steps to reconstitute this important student voice, or if we can start talking about sending back fees. I think students pay what, $800, $900 in student fees? Because I'm just bringing it up here as a jest. But imagine if they got together as a collective voice.
Yeah.
Anyways, oh, and it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And thank you so much for that feedback. It was definitely a conversation at the beginning of this year as far as where the undergraduate college council is going to be. I know that the College of Education is currently working with them in regards to that charge, so we can definitely learn some more about that and report back.
We should definitely have broader conversations about it, but I do believe that there is discussions about working to find and build a council.
So I'm the assistant dean for undergraduate studies, and my staff member, who the undeclared advisor, has been engaged, but those conversations have been suspended since October. And so I don't know what's happening. If it's happening in the College of Education, it's not representing my students. And so I appreciate, I see her. Yeah, so just to clarify, I'm happy to meet and connect you with undeclared students that are advised in my office, and we are not located in the College of Education. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Education as the assistant dean for over 26 years. I don't know what you all are talking about. Well, we are working with associated students because they do not have representation at this time is not the undeclared, but the ID3, because they have a club, an organization of which the associated student asked us if they would be willing to be represented through us. That was it. That was it. That's all that was asked of us. We did not ask for it. We did not seek it out. They simply said they don't have a associated student council is what they came to us about. So unfortunately, I'm not sure where the whole system is at, but again, I don't know how it was before, but at this moment, the College of Ed did not seek out to take anything away from your entity, a division, college, whatever.
So I would suggest a huddle because IS3D is also situated within FAS. So yeah.
Okay, thanks, Chair Schellenberg. I have a different question, and I assume you guys have probably been busy the last couple of months pushing back or researching or exploring how this proposal to increase your fees again might affect all the students. And so my question is, can you provide an update on where things are with that alternative consultation process on this proposal to increase the student fees, what instructionally related activity fees, which I believe is going to go towards athletics, like field maintenance and stuff like that? I was just wondering if y'all could provide an update on some of the feedback that's been received from different constituencies, how the students in general are feeling, any and all feedback. I'd be very interested in hearing what the vibe is on that.
Yeah, so it's been a pretty long process in terms of collecting feedback. I think something that I'd note, I mean, I don't know what the average for a feedback form like this is, but we've received a lot of student feedback. I don't know the exact number, but it's a lot. And so we are going through that feedback. I can speak for the executive officers. We're reading pretty much every piece of feedback that's being submitted to us. And on Friday, there will be the vote or the recommendation to the president regarding what the fee looks like. Karina, I don't know if you want to. We have some high level numbers that are.
And the specifics of that meeting on Friday, for your information, it's in the Tula Community Center, and 30 minutes of that is going to be, that's half the meeting reserved for public comment, which will also be another opportunity for students to come and voice their concerns that maybe they didn't include on that feedback form. The feedback form is now closed, but to Abby's point, we have a lot of feedback to read through. So right now, as voting members of CFAC, we're just reading through all that feedback and, doing our research, to your point, on not only campus fees. It's a very important job on this committee, not only to understand the alternative consultation process, but the history of student fees, the financial state of the CSU, which we've also had an opportunity to talk about and learn more about in the University Senate context. So we're doing a lot of research. I think that overall there is, I don't know the exact percentages, like negative to positive, so I can't share those exact numbers, but there is, I think, more negative than positive. To your point, student fees, it's a hard environment to exist in right now as a student and as a person overall when faced with questions of affordability. But it's definitely, one of our biggest priorities right now as student leaders and being those student voting members on CFAC to understand all of the elements that go into it, the full breakdown, and come with a proposal that, the discussion for a proposal that we see fit. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, I hope that answers your question. But yeah, that December 5th meeting is in the Tula Community Center. It is in person from 11 to 12, and we will all be there.
Any additional questions for our AS leadership? Thank you, AS. Good luck on your
Thank
finals.
you.
And with that, the next time certain, we're going to move to, I saw our provost come in there. We're going to move to a provost report.
I usually give a quick update on enrollment. Since I see Stefan sitting right there, I'll ask him to give a quick update on enrollment. And I know he has another topic too. He can talk faster than me.
Sure, enrollment is very strong. Thank you. No, yesterday was our application deadline for fall 2026. Undergraduate applications came in fairly strong as well, over 111,000 applications overall, up about 12% with transfer applications, around the same with first year applications, minus 1%. So still around 94,000 first time freshman applications. Graduate applications right now are running 15% ahead, which is wonderful news. We have about 6,000 graduate applications, which is much more than anyone else in the system. Total application volumes, even though it's only the beginning of December, 117,000 to SDSU already.
And if you look at the usual comparison table among the CSU, the same ones are still losing students. So significantly. So we're in a good shape, and we hope once the deadline was yesterday, right, December 1st. So it will take a few more days for them to sort out all the duplicates and all the applications. So we'll have more accurate numbers later. And then the second update I wanted to give you all is that, as you heard the president mention at the last SEC, right, we are going to have some tenure track searches. Okay, I don't know how many. I don't know to what level, because there are a lot of moving pieces still, right? The budget, the state budget in January, the amount of money we can save, and all of that will dictate how many lines we might be able to search next year. And I definitely want to have some searches next year. But remember, we this year, academic affairs still has $8.3 million budget cut that we have to meet, right? The president has given us a little longer runway so that we can do a few other things that we urgently need. So we're going to do that, and hopefully at the next meeting, I can give you some more updates. Okay.
Questions for Provost Tong?
Yes. Thank you. Hi, Provost. I just have one question. I think last year, my understanding was that last year we didn't get any money from the Chancellor's office for the extra students that we accepted on our campus. And I'm wondering whether for the next cycle, are we going to get more money for it? Because, I mean, we can stretch ourselves to a certain extent, but I think we are kind of reaching a threshold where it's going to be kind of hard. Yeah. So where's the money? That's what I'm asking.
Well, we did receive some one-time money this time, about $3 million for the additional students we took in. But again, that's one time, right? So it doesn't quite cover. So we're trying definitely not to take a lot of students unless they fully fund them. But at least one time is still better than nothing. So we're always talking to the Chancellor's office about that. In fact, I'm driving to Long Beach right after I leave this room. We have 2 days meeting tomorrow and Thursday. So I'll get more information.
Senator Weston.
I'm glad to hear about the possible tenure track searches, but I also wanted to ask about, is there any chance of improving staffing levels? Because we are very low on staff, and that is actually creating strain on the existing faculty.
Yes, absolutely. And we, our the CHIL committee is very busy this year, and we have a lot of areas that we need to fill, right? So we're definitely including that. That's definitely a priority.
Let Stefan say something just about the hearing.
Thank you, Bill. Just wanted to also mention that this coming Monday, I'll be serving on a panel on an assembly hearing by the Education and Finance Committee, which is going to be looking at what they're calling the future of the CSU. I'm sandwiched between vice presidents of student affairs from Chico State and CSU LA, and obviously SDSU has a very different story to tell. But I think part of what the assembly members are going to be looking at is how the CSU is allocating its funding. There's not an equal amount of funding that's given per full-time equivalency per FTE across each campus. There's actually a very, very wide range, and we're definitely on the bottom, the lower end of that range, which is also to say that if the CSU was to immediately right-size the amount that is being given out across campuses and have a consistent amount and based on the actual number of California state residents that we're educating, our base budget would probably be about $60 million higher, based on my math. Pretty significant, right? There. So there is some subsidizing of some of the lower enrolled campuses. We recognize, of course, that they also are facing any number of different challenges, loss of tuition revenue there. But in my role on that panel, I'll definitely be advocating for additional funding for SDSU in a way that tries not to undermine efforts at our sister campuses to rebuild.
Thank you, Chair Schellenberg. Just a quick comment and a question because I'm not sure where else to ask it. I hope everyone's aware that several campus presidents were just given massive annual raises while we're talking about austerity and structural deficits in here. And my question is, it's come to my attention that a community member, not actually like a faculty or a student or staff member here, that has worked for SDSU, I think DJing a football game, has not been able to receive payment. He reached out, was told, oh, just resend the invoice, and did, and still has not received payment for not one, but 2 games now. And I'm just wondering, what do our community members do when they do labor for this institution and aren't being paid? Who can they contact? I have the individual's name, but I prefer not to use it.
Any number of offices, they can always email our office
They-
directly if they wish to, or they can go straight to head of procurement, Joshua Ulrich. But
That's who
if they,
every worker should contact.
well, I think in this specific case, if they've already tried to email whomever they were hired by and have not heard back, I would immediately escalate to either the procurement head for the university or to our office.
Can you share that contact with me?
Savannah, I can email it to you right now.
That would be great. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
and they can always reach out to my office too. We tend to be, naturally a catch-all too. And so we receive emails every day from community members or faculty, staff, students who have experienced an issue and are looking to find out where do they go from there.
I truly appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Savannah.